Today, I'm talking about why the economy can be growing even when it does not feel like workers are doing any better. More importantly, I will show you where jobs and opportunity are actually growing. Because the common belief is that when the economy grows, most people who are working are going to benefit. But that is not what is happening. Here's something very interesting. The US economy actually grew at an annual rate of 2.1%, even when considering inflation. Yet, 33 states grew more slowly than the national economy. So, how does that actually happen? This is what in economics we call a K shaped economy. So, think about the letter K. One part moves upward while the other moves downward. Some places, industries, and workers are moving forward, others are falling behind. But here is the good news: opportunity is not disappearing, opportunity is moving. So, in this video, I will show you three signals that can help you follow it. We will look at where growth is happening, which industries are driving it, and where businesses are investing for the future. As a labor economist who studies how technology and innovation impact jobs, I use these signals every day to understand where the labor market may be headed. By the end of this video, you will know how to use them to make better decisions about your own career and livelihood. So, the first signal is your local economy. Labor markets are still very local. And that's why it can get confusing when you're watching the news when they're saying the economy is growing. Because not everybody's going to experience the same economy under one national number. You experience it through your employers, industries, wages, and job openings in the particular area that you live in. And during the first quarter of 2026, in the United States, the median state grew at an annual rate of only 1.4%, compared with 2.1% for the national economy. There were also major differences between states. Washington state grew by 4.5%, while South Dakota's economy declined by 1.6%. This can help explain why people can have very different views of the same economy. Someone living in an area receiving new technology investment may see companies actually expanding. But if you're living in an area that's very slow, you may see fewer openings and more competition for each job. So, neither person is imagining their experience. They are living in different local labor markets. So, what does this mean for your career? Start by looking at the major industries where you live. Are companies building data centers, factories, hospitals, laboratories, or are there any energy projects going on? Are employers expanding their operations? Is your region receiving new public or private investment all of a sudden? Those changes are what create demand for many different kinds of workers. So, for example, a technology heavy region may need people in data, cybersecurity. A manufacturing region may need technicians. If your local economy is growing slowly, it does not mean that you don't have any options, okay? You may be able to move into a stronger local industry. You may have to consider remote work. In some cases, you may have to relocate depending on the opportunities and the skill set that you have or want to develop. So the next time you hear that the economy is doing well, ask a more useful question. Where is it doing well? But location only tells us part of the story. A state can grow because one industry is doing extremely well, right? While the other industries are struggling. So we also need to know what is actually producing the growth. And that leads to the second signal, which is industry growth. This is one of the clearest ways to see the K-shaped economy. During the first quarter of 2026, in the United States, information sector added 0.69 percentage points to economic growth. Just that one sector. The federal government also added about the same. Professional, scientific, and technical services added zero point 0.4 percentage points. Durable goods manufacturing added another zero point 0.4 percentage points. So, yeah, those names, they sound all technical. So, let's translate them together. So, when we talk about the information sector, this includes areas such as software, data, that can create opportunities in data analysis, cybersecurity, project management, procurement, technical support, engineering, research equipment maintenance, and supply chain management. Now, let's look at the other side of the K. So, retail trade reduced economic growth by about 0.47 percentage points. Wholesale trade reduced it by 0.35 percentage points. Finance and insurance reduced it by 0.25 percentage points. So this does not mean that those industries are disappearing. So it shows that when an industry slows, the effects may be less obvious. Companies may post fewer jobs. Hiring's going to take a little bit longer typically. Raises may be smaller if they happen. Promotions may be delayed. Employers may become more selective. That is why you should not look only at whether your industry is growing or declining. You should also look at the function of your job. Ask yourself, what problem do I help my employer solve? A retail worker may have experience with customers, inventory, vendors, and daily operations. Those skills could transfer into e-commerce, logistics, customer success, or supply chain coordination. A finance or insurance worker may understand risk, regulations, numbers, and customer information. Those skills could transfer into compliance, fraud detection, cybersecurity, financial technology, or data reporting. So here's the good news. You may not need to throw away your experience and start over. You may need to move your experience toward a growing problem. Focus on work that helps organizations build, analyze, secure, manage, maintain, or improve productivity. If you want more videos that turn economic news into practical career information, subscribe to the channel. That is what I'm here to help you do. Industry data shows us where the economy is growing today. But if we want to understand where jobs may grow tomorrow, we need to follow where companies are putting their money. You got to follow the coin. So this leads to the third and final signal of this video. The third signal is business investment. So when companies spend money on new technology, equipment, and buildings, that often creates demand for new kinds of work. So artificial intelligence is a great example of this. So most of the conversations that we see about AI focuses on whether it will replace workers. That is an important question, but it misses a major part of the story. AI is not only a software story, it is also an infrastructure, energy, manufacturing, and supply chain stories. And the Federal Reserve research shows that 90% of the equipment goods used by high-tech industries comes from outside of the United States. But important equipment still has to be installed. It has to be connected, power protected, repaired, and managed. So that creates a lot of opportunities around the technology itself. Data centers, they need technicians, network workers, and facility staff. Energy companies are going to need electricians, utility workers, analysts, and project coordinators. Companies need cybersecurity specialists to protect their systems. So that is why you should not search only for jobs with AI in the title or feel left out if you have no interest in developing technical skills. You can look for jobs that help companies build, power, operate, secure, and support the management of the AI infrastructure. So in labor economics, we actually call this complementarity. So complementarity means that two things become more valuable when they are actually used together. A new machine can make a technician who knows how to repair it more valuable, right? More AI systems are going to create demand for people who know how to manage, secure, explain, and apply them. So yes, technology can replace some tasks, but it also can increase demand for workers whose skills support the new technology. Instead of asking only, will AI replace my job? Ask another question. What skills will become more valuable because businesses are investing in AI? The long-term job projections actually support this larger pattern. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that employment for wind turbine service technicians will grow by almost 50% from 2024 to 2034. Employment for solar panel installers is projected to grow by about 42%. Other fast-growing jobs are connected to healthcare, data, cybersecurity, logistics, software operations, and machinery maintenance. But do not choose a career based only on a large percentage. So wind and solar technicians are growing quickly, but together they are expected to add fewer than 20,000 jobs. A job growing at a slower rate may still produce more total openings. So you have to look at the growth rate, the number of openings, the pay, the education required, and whether the job exists where you live. And if it doesn't, Are you willing to move to where the opportunity is? So this brings us back to the main point. Opportunity depends on more than one national number. The economy grew at an annual rate of 2.1%, even with inflation. But that growth was uneven. 33 states grew more slowly than the national economy. Growth was concentrated in industries such as information, professional and technical services, and durable goods manufacturing, as well as government spending. At the same time, retail, wholesale trade, and finance and insurance slowed down the economy. And investment in AI is also creating opportunities beyond software. It is creating demand connected to data centers, energy, cybersecurity, manufacturing, supply chains, equipment maintenance, as well as business operations. So, when you're thinking about your career, follow these three signals. First, look at your location. Which parts of your local economy are expanding? Second, look at industries. Which industries are gaining momentum and which functions do they need? Third, follow the investment. Where are companies and governments spending their money? And which skills will complement that investment? The economy is uneven. And in my opinion, I think it will continue to go this way, but opportunity has not disappeared. Opportunity is moving. Once you understand where it is moving, you can make better decisions about the skills that you develop, the jobs you pursue, and the next step in your career. So I hope you guys found this helpful. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want more information about where job is headed and what you can do about it. I'll see you guys next time.